Good afternoon, everybody. I had to share this with you guys. So this particular color chart, which is made out of pieces of wood, have the original milk paint from 35 years ago. So this is when Homestead House first started. This was our color palette. Oops, this is falling off here. Our Renfrew is falling off. So yeah, this was the original color palette, but we have expanded it. And why I have this out is because there's a customer who had a piece of furniture painted about 30 years ago, and there wasn't an antiquing effect done, but we do not know which color blue that she had. And what we're doing is just a few samples. We're going to post them out to her, and she's going to put them up against the current unit. Now, of course, it's been 30 years, so of course it's kind of gotten older. The patina has definitely developed over time, and especially if it was sealed with an oil base, of course you're going to get that hue. So your blues are going to kind of be a little bit heavy on the green side almost. So what I'm doing, I've got a various amount of blues here, and I am doing two antiquing techniques. I'm going to be using Fusion's antiquing or aging wax here on half of it, and on the other half I'm going to be applying some of the stain and finishing oil. Actually, I can't really tip that, but you know, everybody knows the stain and finishing oil from Fusion, right? It's a tiny little can here that's just literally a cup size, and it has some pigment in it and some oils, and we're just going to put one thin amount across the milk paint, which has been sealed with hemp oil, and we're just going to have it as an antique glaze. Now, it is super hot in this warehouse. It's about 31 degrees, and the antiquing wax is really, I have to show you up close, it's almost like a pudding right now in this heat, which is to be expected, right? And actually it kind of helps you to apply it a little bit easier. So I'm brushing it on. I don't have to stipple it. It depends on the effect that I want, but we're going to be going for a glazing effect because the picture that came through from the customer, it is definitely a blue and it has a glazing effect on it, but we're just going to send her these samples so that she can look at it in her lighting and we can figure out which blue it was. And then she can go ahead and make an additional unit that's going to be on the other side of the room, but she wants it to match as best as possible. So I thought, you know what, let's just do up some samples here. This is just like a pine board here. It's really thin. This is our Quaker Blue. And yeah, it's the only way to tell. So I'm going to be removing the excess of this. Now I know it's definitely not the midnight blue as per the picture, but I just wanted to see what the midnight blue looked like with these two glazes on them. So I'm just going to let that sit for a minute and we will remove the excess. So of course, you guys all know they come in two different sizes. To do these little sample boards, I literally used a tablespoon of the milk paint and painted that on. So you do not need a lot of powder. And like this particular size is the standard. It's a 330 gram. And we've been using it a lot for lime washes lately. And yeah, one of these bags will give you definitely 100 square feet of coverage. And it definitely does, like one armoire or two 4-drawer dressers. It goes a long way. And this is the tester size. It's a 50 gram. So just going to pop this over here. Now, of course, I'm going to use the stain and finishing oil. I'm just going to give it a good stir because all of the pigment tends to go to the bottom. And this particular color is the Cappuccino. And I love using that color for an antiquing glaze. Now for the wax, I'm just going to take off the excess now. You can kind of see the color difference right there. Now I'm just going to remove basically the excess. Tomorrow, if I want to amp up the sheen, I can buff it with a brown paper. It's amazing how the sheen increases. Just taking off the excess and leaving a little bit more in the divots there. This is the Homestead Blue. This is the Soldier Blue. This is the Steel Blue. It's a little bit more gray. And then we have our Maritime Blue. It's quite bright. Our Rideau Blue, and then our Midnight Blue. And the Midnight Blue is the exact same color as in our other brand, Milk Paint by Fusion, called Night Swim. All the other colors are unique to the Homestead line. So just take off the excess. And there is a ton of pigment in these waxes. This is the tiny 50-gram wax, but you can antique a full armoire with this. You will need a 200 gram of the clear wax, which we suggest that you apply that first and then come along with this. But there's so much pigment in it. So once I get these done tomorrow, we're going to ship them out, or sorry, they'll be dry tomorrow. So we'll ship them out to the lady and she's going to look at them in her lighting, because that makes all the difference in the world. Now she also, we do suggest, especially if you're far away, because I will be getting these back, so that's why I thought I could do up the samples for her. If you're far away and you want to do samples, this is the size. It's super convenient to get that. It's a few tablespoons of paint and you can do up sample or little projects, or you can just add the sample into a larger bag to customize your color. So we've got just a little bit on the brush, and we're going to just stroke it across here, leaving just the very small thin amount. And that's going to give us our glazed effect. Right now it's quite a bit on there. I will remove more. And I'm going to leave the middle part just completely, just the hemp oil, right? We just want to have it sealed to see what the true color is. There we go. Just going to grab some excess from here. And now you can just leave it heavy like that. It's going to take a couple of days to dry, because it is intended to be, the excess removed. You can also just use the smallest amount and just use it as a dry brush. So for instance, if you take off all the excess and just come along and start doing just a dry brush. There you go, and then you can just do it a little bit heavier in some of the areas just to antique it a bit more. You're basically just leaving some pigment behind, but you can see how you can apply a little bit more into the bottom area. So for instance, if you had a cabinet that was sitting upright, normally you would have a little bit more of a darker area at the bottom of your cabinet. So yeah, you can dry brush that and just leave it be. But for this, we're just going to try to get a light glaze on there just to kind of see the color differentiation. Now, because I'm putting on some excess, I will be wiping it back. But you don't have to. If you wipe it back, it's going to be ready in a day. So I will be shipping this out tomorrow. But if you're leaving it heavy and just like this, it's going to need a couple of days. If you have any questions about milk paint or sealing it, again, this is milk paint. It dried in about 15 minutes. I applied the hemp oil on it. It was much lighter than this. It was quite chalky, actually. But I applied the hemp oil on there because I want to be able to remove this wax and or the stain and finishing oil to be able to see as close to the original color as possible in most areas, right? You're antiquing, but you want the pigments to kind of sit down in the grooves and along the edges. And when you're done, like once this is dry, you won't have to seal it again. The only time you might want to put another layer on is if you really wanted to increase the sheen. But the same thing goes for this stain and finishing oil. Once it's dry, you can come along with a brown paper bag or even like paper like this, crinkle it up and start buffing it, and it really amps up your sheen. Okay, so just using either an applicator or a paper towel, just remove some of the excess so that we can see the original color. And if you wanted to have even more of the original color, just kind of buff off even more of the antiquing oil, right? See how the brightness pops through, and there's, you know, a lot more excess left here. So it just looks more aged. And you just want, you know, a lint-free absorbent cloth or paper towel or applicator. Socks are great. Socks that are wrapped in nylon are fantastic as well. And I purposefully picked this particular molding because of the grooves, just to show, you know, how you can antique it and leave excess in the grooves. It's quite amazing the difference of color. Now, for instance, this is the Homestead Blue, and you can see the antiquing wax. This is the kind of sheen that you get. Now it's still like just drying, so we got about an hour to dry here and about 8 hours for that to dry. But if you want to up your sheen, remember just buffing it with the brown paper is fantastic. This is quite a color change here. So this is the Quaker Blue, and again, this here is the aging wax. And this is a furniture wax. It's actually quite durable. So we've got the wood, we've got the milk paint, and then we've got the hemp oil, and then the wax. Now for a piece of furniture, that's all you need. On this side, instead of the wax, we have the stain and finishing oil. And again, that's it for the protection. Your next, step is if you want to have a bit more of a sheen. But before adding another layer of anything, I would just give it a buff, because you can really increase your sheen just by doing that. So here we go, just to give you an idea of how the colors change. We've got the aging wax, and we've got the Cappuccino stain and finishing oil. If you have any questions, please jot them down, and we'll get back to you on that. The stain and finishing oil, again, just a recap, the little 250 ml. And these are the sizes that the milk paint comes in. We've got the regular size, the 330 gram, and then our little tester size. So yeah, if you want to see any other techniques, hop on to some of our posts. And yeah, any questions, jot them down. Thanks for joining.